I'm Fernando Macias. I'm the district attorney for Doña Ana County. I join Mr. Tomas or Tommy Medina, who's a deputy district attorney, in presenting this case to you. Let me give you the outline, and that's what an opening statement is. The outline of the evidence that will be presented to you. This is a case about abuse of authority and a completely unjustified use of lethal force. At the time, Officer Felipe Hernandez shot and killed Terry Gomez, not in self-defense, but to stop her from leaving the scene of their encounter. The evidence will show that Ms. Gomez posed no imminent threat to, at the time, Officer Hernandez, and at the time that she was shot and killed. This was not a split-second mistake. It was a calculated escalation by the officer over a non-violent encounter. This occurred in the early morning. I believe the documentation will suggest 4:47 in the morning on the 3rd of October of 2023 on Burley Court, basically a quiet residential cul-de-sac here in Las Cruces. Officer Hernandez approaches a legally parked vehicle with Teresa, or what she really went by, Terry Gomez, and a Jesus Garcia that were inside the vehicle. No weapons were displayed. Mr. Garcia is the testimony is going to show you that he admits to having a paintball gun or parts of it available or near his person. Officer Hernandez confirms that it is not a real gun, that it's a paintball gun. Mr. Hernandez becomes aggressive, uses profanities, threats, commands, escalates the tension without cause. He repeatedly curses, threatens both occupants. He fixates on this technical trespassing violation and Mr. Garcia's prior contacts that he's had with, at the time, Officer Hernandez. He basically tells Ms. Gomez, while she's still in the car, "I will really make your life a living hell." That's his communication to Ms. Gomez. He attempts to force her out of the car without any imminent danger, including threatening her with a taser basically 2 or 3 feet away from her to get out of the vehicle. You will hear the exchanges that occur. You will be seeing video evidence of the shooting itself. You will see that at a point after the interaction, Ms. Gomez, who has been allowed by Mr. Hernandez to go back into the vehicle, the door is open. Ms. Gomez puts the car in reverse and starts pulling back. With the door open, Mr. Hernandez momentarily basically moves with the door. He safely clears the swing of the path of the door and is no longer in the vehicle's way. As Miss Gomez shifts into drive and begins to roll forward at a very low speed, in fact, the expert witnesses will testify at 3 miles an hour, Mr. Hernandez shoots 3 times. All the shots are fired as the vehicle is moving away. No threat to Mr. Hernandez or to the public. The forensic analysis and the testimony that you're going to be hearing, the first bullet ricochets basically off of the car door frame and strikes Ms. Gomez in the back. The bullet doesn't exit. It basically goes from left to right, basically killing Ms. Gomez. The other 2 shots ended up in basically very close to the back window of the vehicle. The autopsy, and you will hear from the Office of Medical Investigator, basically the trajectory is from her back through the front. And again, it basically goes from left to right in her body. Again, the car comes to a stop. The door is still open. The door never closed on the car. You will listen to the videos. You will hear the testimony. Mr. Hernandez claimed at the time she almost hit me with a car. And you will see through the testimony and through the video that he repeats that 4 different times. She almost hit me with a car. The video and forensic evidence will show that he had already stepped back, that as the car door was moving, he basically moved with it. Never falling, never stumbling, basically moving with the movement of the car. You're going to hear again the exchanges that were occurring. The state will show you that Mr. Hernandez acted in anger, not fear. He repeatedly threatens. His tone is exceptionally aggressive, and he's fixating on minor violations. Our testimony will show that no reasonable officer would believe that lethal force was necessary at that moment. You'll hear again through testimony that Jesus Garcia, the passenger, confirms that they're just sitting in the car. Paintball gun was found, yes, but no weapons were found, no real weapons. The blood evidence, the casing placement, the trajectory maps all align with the vehicle moving away and not moving towards Officer Hernandez. Yes, there were what I would describe as minor injuries on the part of Mr. Hernandez, but you will see what was documented by fellow law enforcement officers. He was riding something at the time that the car moved. So you're going to see an ink scratch inside the elbow and some skin. No blood, just some skin rubbed off on his arm. That is what was documented. You're going to hear from our experts from the New Mexico State Police and an independent 3D forensic expert. Mr. Hernandez had clear egress. The car was leaving, not charging. No immediate threat existed, and shooting was not justified under law enforcement protocols or even basic human judgment. You are going to see some very graphic videos that are depicting what is occurring. The OMI will testify to the manner of death, and the OMI, looking at what occurred, they have to make a determination of death. Their determination is that it was a homicide. Completely neutral body. And although, again, the time of death is declared at Mountain View Hospital, Miss Gomez was dead on the scene. The testimony that you will hear will support that the law does not allow officers to shoot someone who is fleeing.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Hold on, Mr. Macias.
Thank you.
Mr. Zabrik, are we okay? Have her write it down. Just listen to the statements, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to questions in a bit. Mr. Macias, you may continue.
Thank you. Your Honor, I am just going to go ahead and close after all of the evidence is presented. All of it. We are going to ask you, the state is going to ask you to return a verdict of guilty of second-degree murder and hold that Mr. Hernandez is responsible for the killing of Terry Gomez. Thank you, Your Honor.
Listening to Mr. Macias talk just now, I was struck by how clinical and how after the fact Monday morning quarterback, he has laid out what happened on Burley Court on that morning.
Objection.
We're breaking down second by second, and when was the threat, when was it not? Luckily, you're not going to be judging the case by the representations made during opening statements. You're going to see the lapel camera, and if you know, maybe you've heard about them on TV, but they are cameras that law enforcement officers wear on their bodies to record interactions with their involvements with citizens. You're going to see the terrifying night or early morning that Felipe Hernandez was in. You're going to see that it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. It's not wonderful fluorescent lights, light of day. Take our time. Let's go through it second by second. Morning once again. My name is Jeff Lahan, and as I said, it is my honor and privilege to represent Felipe Hernandez today. As you can imagine, being a defense attorney, most of the time I'm battling the state and police officers that take the stand. The next few days, I have the honor of defending Felipe Hernandez and his actions on the morning of October 3rd, 2023. As you see, folks, this case is not about a murder. This case is about a police officer performing his duties in a chaotic and dangerous situation to protect himself and, oh yeah, the public at large. Because you see, in New Mexico, as in most places I would assume in the United States, a police officer not only has the duty to take care of himself, to protect himself, protect maybe his family if he has one, but he's got a duty every time he goes out on the street, a duty to protect everybody. And here's the situation he found himself in. October 3rd, 2023, Felipe Hernandez, 10-year veteran of Las Cruces Police Department, not a road cop, not somebody being written up day in, day out, Barney 5-0, Barney. Before that, well, Felipe was in the Army. He joined the Army right before 9/11. was deployed to Fallujah in 2003 when we started ramping things up in Iraq. He had some experiences there patrolling the streets of Fallujah. When he came back, he separated out of the Army. He'll tell you why. He couldn't go back to Iraq. But he wants to stay in public service. And so he's in Colorado Springs. He goes to work at the jail up there. They like him at the jail, so they asked him to come over and be a deputy in their sheriff's department. He's doing pretty good up there, but wants to move back down, wants to get down to Las Cruces. So he moves down here, starts over again, starts at the jail, right? And then he worked here at this courthouse. You'll see some people in uniform. It's not unusual to have folks in uniform here at the courthouse. He worked here and then went through Law Enforcement Academy and became certified and was a 10-year officer in Las Cruces Police Department. Because of his temperament and his ability to communicate and get along with the folks in the public, he was asked to take on a special project. And that project was community policing for the public housing areas that we have here in Las Cruces. Public housing is kind of a joint venture between the city, between the state, and the county, and it provides housing for the very elderly and the disabled and folks that just really are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of, having money, having assets. The program was created. The folks there were complaining, and particularly we're going to talk about Burley Court. Okay, you may not know that name, but you know where it's at. It's over by the Cox Cable place at Idaho in Maine. You got the Cox Cable right there in the corner, and you got the church on the left, and it's kind of a zone, a pedestrian zone, I think. And to the right, down those little streets, we have some public housing where the most vulnerable people in our society, in our community, live. And when they start complaining to their city councilors, to the police chief, to the mayor, about people coming over and smoking meth, and some of these folks got taken advantage of. Felipe will tell you his job, and he did it for 3 years. He rode a bike through these areas, and he rides a bike, and he'll tell you that, so that he's not a threatening cop in a car. He's not out to make DWI arrests. He's not out to chase people all over town. He is there to interact with the community, and if there's something going on, something going wrong, then he's supposed to do something about it. He would have been fired if he hadn't taken care of the people in that housing project, make sure that people that are supposed to be there are there, people that ain't supposed to be there ain't supposed to be there. So, and I say vulnerable, we're talking about people with mental health deficiencies, people that were thinking, oh great, I've got a friend. I've got a friend who wants to come in my house. I've got a friend who wants to come in my house and smoke meth. Well, at least he's a friend, he's company. Oh, now he's got 2 friends. Now he's got a girlfriend. Now we got 5 people smoking meth in this dude's apartment. And that's what Felipe Hernandez was detached and assigned to put a stop to. And he did. Did it so well, he received a commendation from a local community organization. He was put in for Officer of the Year, Las Cruces Police Department, because he took his job seriously. He took the responsibility of taking care of those folks, and it offended him when they were taken advantage of. October 3rd, 2023, when Felipe left his house, put on his uniform with his badge of office, He wasn't thinking, man, I hope I get in a scuffle today. I'm kind of feeling that itch. I want to get in a fight, man. I want to get in a mix up. Oh, took off that morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, out of the police station on a bicycle. Other folks sometimes ride with him for the exercise, for the experience. They're welcome to do it. He tells them, but this bike leaves at 4 a.m. or 4:30 sharp, whatever the time limit is, because he knows it's an effort to get around to the housing projects. He arrives down at the Burley Court around 4:45. As was told to you during the previous opening statement, the documentation will show 4:47 thereabouts when things start cooking. Now, as you can imagine, think about your own street, your own neighbor. You know the cars that are there. If you've lived there any length of time at all, if it's not a student transient kind of bunch of duplexes or whatnot. But Felipe, over the course of 3 years, you just become attuned to, oh yeah, that car belongs to that unit, and oh yeah, that car, that's Mrs. Garcia's daughter coming to visit her. I remember that now. Okay, and those are things that are just in his brain. Okay? He's riding that bike. He's riding through these housing developments, looking for the very minor things that can disrupt a community like that. Yes, it is a minor violation of the law to put up a tent in your yard. But when you put up 5 tents in front of one housing unit, and everybody else got to live there, and those 5 tents, the people in those tents haven't been approved to live there, then yes, that's a very minor thing, but it's a big deal to those folks. You're going to see it all on lapel. Felipe rides up on his bike. He catches 2 people sitting in a car at 4:30 in the morning. The car is kind of a broken down car. It's got plastic on the driver's side window. That becomes important for why Felipe approaches from the driver's side. Normally, they approach from passenger side, but because of the opaque plastic, he's going to tell you. He went around to driver. The passenger, you'll see it on camera. You don't have to take my word for it. The passenger is pulled down in the car with his hat over his head and fiddling with the stuff in his waist. The driver immediately becomes confrontational, telling Felipe he's got no right to talk to her, no right to do anything at all. She wants him to call his sergeant, blah, blah, blah. She gives a fake name. Meanwhile, dude over in the passenger seat still fumbling around with this. And that's making Felipe, Officer Hernandez, not angry. It's making him extremely concerned because it is pitch black. It's October 3rd. It's about this time of year. Okay, sunrise not really until about 7-ish. Okay, maybe a little after. So 4:45 in the morning is pitch black. Felipe is dealing with what he sees some guns or something, and he confirms the paintball guns. Well, why is anybody at 4:30 in the morning walking around with a paintball gun in the stuff down their pants? It gets weirder and weirder, okay? The lady's fighting with him, Ms. Gomez. He doesn't know that it's Ms. Gomez because that's not the name she gave. She's not giving correct information. He has her get out of the car for safety to separate these two until he can figure out what's going on. Once he figures out what's going on, he decides he's not going to arrest anybody. Jesus has got warrants. He's been violated for trespassing at that housing complex before. He's not going to arrest anybody because it's the changing of the shift. In graveyard shift, They're wrapping up their cases for the night. It's a brand new shift. It'll be an hour before anybody comes pick him up. He's on a bike. He can't just put somebody on the back of his bike and take him to jail. So he's gonna let these few people go. You'll see it on the lapel cam. While Felipe is writing down information to look her up later, and he's about to let her go, she looks right at him, puts the car in gear, doesn't tell him to watch out for the door. The door does strike him. The door does strike him. It challenges his authority, a meaningful challenge to his authority. And at that point, she is a felon. She has used a dangerous weapon to attack a police officer. That makes her a felon, and now she's fleeing. And you're going to hear the law at the end of this case. And I'm convinced that after you hear the law, compared to the circumstances of this case, the lapel cam video, you are going to find that Felipe Hernandez was absolutely justified in using deadly force in this situation. I'm convinced that you will find Felipe Hernandez not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lahan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to recess for lunch. I would like you back here at 1:45 p.m. Please note that I'm bringing you back a little bit later than usual because I have a docket of about 8 or 9 cases at 1:15 that I hope to have done by 1:45. So the bailiff will escort you out of the courthouse. He'll show you where you're going to gather and meet when you come back from lunch. Every time you leave the courthouse, I'll give you this recess instruction. Ladies and gentlemen, during the recess, do not discuss this case with other jurors or with any other person, or allow anyone to discuss the case with you. Avoid any publicity that this case may receive. Do not read, listen, or watch any news accounts of the trial. And please do not express any opinion about the case or form any fixed opinion until the case is finally submitted to you for your decision. All right, please stand for this jury. Please be seated, everyone. All right, we'll bring the parties back at 1.